What is going on, everybody? I'm Matthew.scoletti, back to you Living the Dream podcast. Oh my goodness, what a milestone we have today. 100th episode is happening right this very moment. Oh man, I'm clapping for you all for listening to this episode and this podcast for what is it, almost a year and a half, more than a year and a half now. I appreciate every single one of you. I'm so grateful. I'm so blessed. I never thought when I started this thing that it would be just snowballing like it has, bringing on incredible guests, being able to share some personal and deep stories with you. Just amazing, amazing experience. I'm so grateful for every one of you out there in the listening or viewing world. And I want to say this too, it makes my entire week, month, when I get a DM or an email or a text or some form of communication from the listener, from you, saying anything, saying how much you appreciated a certain story, saying how much you used an idea, maybe saying a suggestion on how to improve the podcast. Any interaction that I get to have with the listener, with you, is just, it moves me and it inspires me, and I appreciate every single one of you. So feel free to reach out. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you want to hear. Give me some new ideas, some suggestions, and we'll keep tweaking this thing to bring you the best podcast and the best free content on the internet out there. 100th episode. I'm stoked. We're going to keep this one short and sweet, but I do want to share, since this is episode 100, how this whole podcast started. And I think you're going to get some value out of the story because there's a lot of good nuggets in there. September of 2019 I started to get frustrated with myself because I had stalled on starting this podcast for months, probably almost a year. It was probably around 2018. I thought, why don't I do a podcast? And then 1 month went by, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, and I took zero action. And I got frustrated with myself and I stalled. And I told myself this lie, which was, I don't know where to start. That's the lie I told myself to justify why I was taking no action, which was not true. Think about all the resources we have. We have Google. I could ask around. I could reach out to other people that had a podcast. Fiverr is a great website. There's so many different options out there that I could have used to get the ball rolling, but I took zero action, and it made me frustrated because I knew deep down I could start a podcast if I wanted to. You listening to this right now, if you want to start a podcast, you could probably have it up and running within a week or two if you went hard at it and pushed yourself to make things happen and create that urgency. You could absolutely start a podcast in a week, in a day. They have apps now where you can just download one and record and upload it to some of these websites or apps, etc. The point is, I hesitated and I lied to myself, and that got me frustrated because I was not taking action. And then a very, very special day happened in Columbus, Ohio. I attended Lewis Howes' event in September 2019 called the Summit of Greatness. Just incredible to be around so many great speakers, so many great people. But the benefit to going to a lot of these events, and hopefully we'll have events very soon after we get COVID behind us, is you get to meet other people that are entrepreneurs, that are in the same world and struggling and challenges and pushing forward and just overcoming setbacks. You get to be around people that are like you, and it's amazing. And I met a woman who was running an amazing podcast at the time. We just started chit-chatting. She said, I have this great person. Amanda, you're awesome. If you're listening to this, thank you very much. And she hooked me up with people that could make this dream a reality. And she helped me take action on this. Now, this was like a punch in the face for me because I thought, okay, this is the good Lord saying, I'm going to put somebody right in your way that's going to basically spoon feed you the start of your podcast. You have no excuses now. My point in telling you the story is a couple of different reasons. One of them is, do not wait for that moment that somebody needs to step in and push you over the top. You can start right now. I don't care if you think you have zero resources or a ton of resources, whatever the situation, you can start wherever you are with what you have, period, end of story. Don't be like me and waiting for no apparent reason for a long period of time. What stops us? What stops us from taking the action? Well, fear stops us, right? Fear stops us. And do you know what stops fear in its tracks? What stops fear? Boom, like this. Action. Taking the action stops the fear. What are you fearful of? Think about that. What are you fearful of? Walk towards it. If you have a fear of heights and you're standing on a building and you start walking towards the edge, what's going to happen? You're probably going to start sweating, maybe a little shaky. Your heart's going to start beating faster. It's your body saying, I don't like this. I don't think. But what happens if you keep walking? Will you eventually be able to walk to the ledge, put your hand on the railing and look over? Of course. You may feel lightheaded. Your legs might be shaking, but you can do it. And then what happens the second time? You feel a little bit less stressed, not as much lightheaded. I think about it when you look at a dog we have a bunch of dogs on our street and a lot of the neighbors have invisible fences. Think about this. Dog has the, shock collar on. There's an invisible fence. And what happens when the dog goes to the edge, right? They start to feel that, I'm assuming it's like a vibration. It's not that painful, but it's enough to go, whoa. And then what if they take a step further? It gets a little more intense. It hurts a little bit more, right? The question I have is this. Could the dog get out on the street and just plow through the invisible fence? The answer is absolutely yes. If the dog is able to deal with the pain of pushing through, then there's freedom. I mean, that's not the good type of freedom because the owners will not know where the dog is. But the dog could technically, if they can withstand the pain and discomfort long enough, push through that. So they can get out of there. The question is, what is holding you back? And can you be like the dog and walk and keep walking when you feel that discomfort? Can you keep walking? I didn't at the beginning with the podcast. I did not keep walking. I stopped. As soon as that shock collar got a little bit uncomfortable, I said, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm not gonna do this right now. I got resistance and I stopped. You have to keep walking towards your goals, your dreams, your fears, because you will then prove that you can push through them. And then they're not fears anymore. I was so scared of heights for so long. It was insane. My wife and I went bungee jumping a few years ago. I'm good. Like when I push through that, now you put me on, roller coaster, like looking over the side of a ledge on a cliff, like no big deal because I bungee jumped. I have that in my mind now that if I could bungee jump, I could do anything regarding heights. So here's the takeaway. Think about something you want. Think about something maybe you haven't thought about in a while that you want to achieve, you want to go after. Maybe you want to give a virtual speech. You take action. You join Toastmasters. You start getting out there. You take a Dale Carnegie course. You get yourself out there. Maybe you want to run a 5K. Sign up for a running club or sign up for the event within a reasonable distance of right now. 5K, you've been running, walking a little bit. You give yourself 2 or 3 months, you get ready for it. You sign up. The action is you sign up. Now you've created the urgency for yourself to push yourself towards whatever that goal might be. Do you want to play an instrument? Sign up for a class. Sign up for a class and start learning versus sitting there going like I did with the podcast. I don't really know what to do. I'm not really sure how to go about this. No. You're not like that. You're listening to this episode for a reason. Take the action now. Boom. Thanks for listening or watching episode 100. This has just been, it's been a dream come true. I never thought this was possible. Never thought it would happen. Thank you all. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, everybody that made this possible. Hope you got something out of this episode. Take action now. Take action now. Tan, that's it. Take action now. Much love to you all. We'll see you next week.